So here's the situation. The tide is going out. The wind is blowing in. Ken, we are set for some great racing. The air is nice and clear, and the sun is out.
That was great conversation with Ben Ainsley and skipper Jimmy Spithill. Really, Ainsley's job here is to provide information to give Jimmy a better idea of where he wants to position the boat on the starting line. That's exactly what he was just doing. Tide and what is going on the race course, which end of the starting line is a little favored toward that first mark.
No, we're good. We're going to start. Just slow up a little here, boys. Again. Just slow up, Dutch.
So for Oracle Team USA, the defenders of the America's Cup, we go over to the challengers, and that is Emirates Team New Zealand. Dean Barker in his normal position, and there's the rest of the crew, and the pie warmers on the top right of your screen. Very little chatter on board Emirates Team New Zealand, so they are getting about work. Port entry today, the boat coming in on the left side of your screen will be the Americans. They get a 10-second start into the start block. Now, really, it's no start advantage, Kenny, on the actual course. It just gets them into position earlier, and they can determine which way they want to go.
Absolutely. Oracle is thought by the skippers, by these programs, to be in a slightly better spot, to have that 10 seconds jump to get into the box. That allows them to set themselves up, position themselves a little bit better for the final run to the start.
So at 2:10, it's Oracle Team USA making their way into the entry box, or the start box, and the Kiwis will follow behind.
Got you, gaining.
So here we go with 1:45 before they hit the start line. We've seen this before from Emirates Team New Zealand, Ken. They went deep into the box. Do you think the Americans do the same thing?
Well, this is a little more traditional. The Kiwis jive back and tried to close that gap between the boats as tight as they possibly can, just to put a little bit more pressure on Oracle and when they actually turn.
He's going straight. He's going straight. He continues. He continues.
That's the voice of Ben Ainsley, just giving skipper Jimmy Spithill a bit of a play-by-play.
And with 1:10 to go, we check in with Gary Jobson down on the water.
Todd, there's going to be a big battle to be at the leeward end of the line. That's at the bottom of the screen. With this ebb current, that's where you want to be on this start.
We need a kill for the line.
And you see that Jimmy Spithill has positioned Oracle right down on that yellow line, on that left-hand lay line, but Emirates Team New Zealand still going for a hook. This is a risky play by New Zealand at this stage, so low in the box, right by that yellow line. Have they gone too far, Todd? Oracle they're way down in the box beyond that yellow line. They're really going to be slow getting back up.
Killing 3 on the box.
We are still slightly slower.
Killing 2 on the box. Killing 1.
Oracle is totally in control at this stage, Todd. They've done a really nice job of finding that lay line and dominating this start.
Lovely work.
He's up.
All clear. All clear. Yeah.
So the all clear is given. Race number 9 is off.
They have no want or need to go over the starting line right now. Oracle might actually just stay here and get New Zealand really slow before they take off for Mark 1. Great move by Jimmy Spithill.
A masterful job by Jimmy Spithill, Ben Ainsley, and Tom Slingsby as the Americans have the lead as they head to mark number 1.
We're going to get pressure, going straight.
Super speed off.
Good pressure might be the understatement of the day as the Americans are clocking in at 41 knots. That's 47 miles an hour. And it's Oracle Team USA with the lead of 4 seconds around the first mark.
Same speed. Yeah, nice of him. Yeah, a little bit softer in general, but not too bad.
Happy going straight. Good pressure here. Really good pressure here.
Yeah.
Probably match it, Noah.
So Oracle Team USA leads it by almost 100 meters. You heard Ben Ainsley saying good pressure, happy to stay here. Meanwhile, trailing in a position they have not been in more than a couple times during this entire regatta. The man with the 14 on his helmet, that is the skipper and helmsman, Dean Barker. Ken Reed, the big question is, what does he do now?
Well, it's funny, we just haven't seen any even starts so far. One skipper has completely dominated the other in every single start so far. Now, here we go. Dean Barker's a little bit behind. What are they going to do? Do they have the pace to get it back? They've always had speed upwind before to rely on. Do they have it today?
Yep, but I'm happy to drive.
Standing by. 3, 2, 1, driving.
So the Kiwis stay in line with the Americans. The lead grows to 112 meters. We check in on the water and Gary Jobson.
The race at this point is very even speed-wise, but it's the setup for the leeward gate. New Zealand being behind, he's got to do the opposite gate of whatever Oracle's going to do. So his tactics, once again, are at a premium.
Leg 2 of 5 here in race number 9. The Americans have the lead. Let's go back quickly, Ken, and take a look at the start one more time. And you made a very good point. The Americans were in no rush to get across the line.
There's no need to actually go over the starting line here. But, you know, it was really interesting. I was nervous that Oracle was way too low in the starting box to even get up to the line. Obviously, they're way ahead of the game. Plenty of time, plenty of distance to get up there. They just stuffed New Zealand. Wait for the speed differential, wait for New Zealand to slow down more, and then they can speed away. It's just a difference of acceleration at this stage. Really good, classic match race move by Jimmy Spithill.
So Spithill pins Dean Barker up at the top, and there you see the lead approaching 175 meters now. And the big question is, Gary Jobson, how soon is Ben Ainsley looking to that leeward mark or gate number 2 and setting themselves up?
Oh, I think he's been thinking about it the whole leg and looking at what the other boat. It's a little bit of a strategic game right now. And from my eye, looking at it, I think Oracle Team USA is sailing a little bit faster and gaining.
Here comes Webb. One and then left. One and then left, boys.
Now comes the time where Team New Zealand has to be thinking about that split. It's been so effective at this bottom gate to go around the other side of the gate for the boat behind. They got to be thinking ahead and trying to create that split, which will probably cost them one more jibe in the big picture.
And with this ebb, Kenny, you want to be in the middle of the bay because the current is stronger. The water's deeper, stronger current. That's where you want to be.
40 seconds now. 20 seconds.
That's 20 seconds to a ley line, Todd. Pretty calm boat right now where you're on Oracle. Ben Ainsley is clearly in charge, and he's just working on ley lines into that bottom mark.
5, 4,
Yeah, the problem here, if New Zealand wants to split, they'll have to do 2 jibes to get to the left gate.
These foiling jibes, though, Gary, they cost so little in VMG or the actual distance toward the mark. They can get away with 2 jibes, but this last maneuver is a tough one. This is a hard one to pull off and pull off effectively if you're Team New Zealand.
At gate number 2, Oracle Team USA, the defenders of the America's Cup, make the move, and their lead has grown. Remember, it was just 4 seconds at the first mark, and will the Kiwis split? Yes, they will.
But, man, Oracle had pace on that run, Gary. That's as big an opening as we've seen on a first run of any leg so far.
They've gained about 8 boat lengths, Kenny. Big improvement in downwind speed. Now let's see what about upwind.
So from 4 seconds to 18 seconds is now the lead for Oracle Team USA over Emirates Team New Zealand. The Kiwis, this has been their strength, leg 3 of 5, and this has been really the problem until the last race for Oracle Team USA. Interesting dynamic for the Americans. Ken, they technically have 3 helmsmen on board. Jimmy Spithill, Tom Slingsby, and of course Ben Ainsley.
But like we said in the pre-show, Slingsby is really, I think he's the key to communication here. Ainsley's not, he's not a born tactician, but Slingsby is keeping that communication loop open all the time as a go-between between these two guys, between these two really good sailboat racers.
Getting by in 3, 2, 1. Haircut. Pressure out of them.
Once again, perfect synchronization from Emirates Team New Zealand. Dean Barker rarely gets rattled. His man, Ray Davies, the tactician, quietly working with him as Barker continues to survey over the water here on the upwind leg. The Kiwis have 6 wins. They need 3 more, and the cup is going back to New Zealand.
Todd, these guys tacking maneuver, I can't underestimate, I can't understate how much it's improved in the last 5 days. They've gone to school on Team New Zealand and how they're tacking the boat, how they're controlling the dagger boards, the hydraulics, the wing, everything in unison, and they're figuring it out. And they're sailing the boat. They're actually foiling upwind now, right there, but they're using a skimming technique now that Team New Zealand has been using for a while. They're not digging that bow in the water and displacing, trying to create a longer hull. They're actually skimming, or here, they're actually foiling. It's very similar, again, to how Team New Zealand was really beating them up around the race course in the past.
I'll tell you when he's still going, he's going to go to bound hand there. Pretty steady pressure. Might have a little bit of blood on my
That
eyes.
leeward hull is out of the water a good chunk of the time now. They've just completely changed the philosophy as to how they're sailing the boat upwind.
Look how choppy it is on the right-hand side of the course where the Americans are.
And that just means better current out there, Gary. That kind of middle right-hand side is where it's called the dumping ground area, and that's always known as the most amount of current as there is on San Francisco Bay.
You can look at the body posture of Dean Barker and tell that he's losing a lot right now. The right side of the course, where Oracle Team USA is better. More current, and the wind, Ken, has really shifted to the right here, a little bit different than we've seen over the past week. The USA continues to gain.
The Americans now lead by more than 300 meters. In the past, leg number 3 has been their downfall as the Kiwis have been known to pounce on them. And as Ken pointed out, somehow, some way, over the course of the last 3 days, Oracle Team USA has learned to tack much better, and it certainly is showing here in race number 9.
Lovely tack, lovely tack.
What are you not got us, man?
Good work.
I seem like less
Ready.
rate is better, Tommy, when I'm at those high speeds, you know? Say again? I just took a little
Sail the
rake
boat,
off.
Jimmy, sail the boat, mate.
They tack back.
Going straight.
You heard Ben Ainsley say there, lovely tack, lovely tack. Actually, it sounded like Jimmy was starting to explain what he did different in the tack, and Ben just said, hey, sail a boat. Pretty good.
Meanwhile, work continues for Emirates Team New Zealand, sitting on 6 victories, needing only 3 more to take the cup away from the Americans. Lucky Charm back on there. Grant Dalton, 56 years of age. The 2 races the Kiwis have lost, Gary, he has not been on the boat. Is there any chance he does not stay on the boat?
Taking a look up the course here, Emirates Team New Zealand just no match for Oracle Team USA as we continue on leg 3, heading for the windward mark.
Get tough on here.
No pressure.
Very nice. He tacks back. Same here at the moment.
Constant communication on Oracle Team USA, and this is something, Ken, that we were not hearing 2 or 3 races ago.
Great communication, obvious great speed. They've actually opened up on a beat here. Full credit to their design, engineer, and shore teams for changing gears, and then the sailors, of course, for changing modes on how they're sailing this boat upwind. A completely different boat than what we've seen in the past on this leg 3.
You know, Ken, when you think about the guys, Tom Slingsby and Ben Ainsley, they won their Olympic gold medal sailing single-handed. They're not used to talking to anybody, and they seem to be enjoying it working together.
This is leg 3 of 5, race number 9, day number 6 of the 34th America's Cup. The Americans have seized the momentum. Yesterday, there was just 1 race contested because of high winds. Race number 2 was taken off the board, and it is now the Americans who seem to have figured out the bay.
Massive right-hand gate bias. They say we do 2 more.
Hey, tag back. Good game.
These guys on Oracle have to be really excited at this stage. They were down and out in this event. You know, Dean Barker, though, has been calling this. He said they knew they were going to come up with little triggers, little bits. It was going to help them go faster. And sure enough, the Americans and the Oracle compound has figured out how to do it.
No problem. Going to ley line, right-hand gate here.
Ainsley saying going to ley line, right-hand gate. Now, late in the leg, it's time to minimize maneuvers and just simplify. No more need to cover, just simplify.
As the wind continues to blow and the Americans are out in front by more than 300 meters, we have to start thinking about the second race of the day, which would be race number 10 of this regatta. And Gary, from your position out on the water and your knowledge of this area, do you think we see a second race today, or does Mother Nature blow it out?
Well, Todd, right now we're only 2/10 of a knot under the wind limit. If they get around the next mark, the wind limit goes away. It's a 5-minute average. As for the afternoon race, it's going to be very hard to get it in if this wind continues to build.
Those tacks by they're what effectively looks like a roll tack. It's not a roll tack, but those of us who sail dinghies, it looks like a roll tack. One hull in, the other hull out. Immediately, it reduces the wetted surface by literally 50% and allows the boat to accelerate much quicker. Incredible change of events for Oracle Team USA.
Have a light spot and then sting back on in 15.
Pressure on here. Try and get it going.
Pressure back on you now.
And one thing we're hearing much more of, especially today, is more talking coming from Ben Ainsley. He is playing the role of tactician for Oracle Team USA.
You've got to believe he's getting more comfortable every day. This is a new spot. That first day must have been pretty intimidating for him, but he's clearly getting better at it. I'm sure they're watching a ton of tape at night to help him just speed up the whole process.
Should be fine on him, actually. 45 seconds to a job. 45.
So this race will stick as the Americans make the turn on gate number 3. The wind limit goes away, and the Kiwis now in a very odd position for them as they watch the Americans out in front, and Dean Barker looking to work some magic here on leg number 4. Can Emirates Team New Zealand make a big charge and get some heavy pressure over the Americans, sail away with the victory?
Backwards. No one here.
The lead has gone up to 33 seconds for the Americans over Emirates Team New Zealand here in race number 9.
Gary, I'm curious, out on the committee boat, how close did they actually get to the wind limit in this race?
Well, they were 2/10 underneath, as Oracle Team USA is only 3 boat lengths from us, sailing downwind at 40 knots. What an impressive sight.
Dean Barker scanning the horizon, trying to figure out where the most pressure is and the most favorable current here, leg 4 of 5. Meanwhile, it's Oracle Team USA clearly in control of this race.
Okay, coming into more pressure all the time. Nice work, lads.
Team USA with a more than 600-meter lead on Emirates Team New Zealand.
Case drive, no problem at all. Good lead here. Just us in the finish. It's going to get a little choppy down here.
And Ken, if Oracle Team USA can hold on and get this win, their 3rd victory, but their 1st point, what does this mean to the camp?
You can't overestimate the amount of enthusiasm that this program, and you never know, they could be onto something, and it's just sitting back there right now in the laboratory creating the next big jump. You don't know. The vertical learning curves on these boats are still staggering. How much faster they go every day. These guys are onto something clearly.
You take a shot of the body language on Team USA now as opposed to 4 or 5 races ago. It is a completely different story.
Different boat. It's just a different boat, a different team. Just tremendous how they've massaged a bad situation and created a good one.
You know, it makes me wonder whether the New Zealanders will say, you know what, we're off the pace, we got to reconfigure. Maybe it's time for them to take their card and not race the next race.
And what Gary Jobson's alluding to is each team has a provisional card where they can waive off a race for any reason. Oracle Team USA did it earlier this week when they were just getting it handed to them. Jimmy Spithill pulled the card and said, we need to shut it down. We are out of sorts. They clearly have some kind of advantage. So they waived off the 2nd race of that day. And that's a good question by Gary. If the Kiwis feel that there's just something missing and they can't match them, do they just say, you know what, we're done for the day, waive off the 2nd race?
Well, I'm not totally convinced at this stage they're not matching them. I just think the Americans have sailed a really good race. They rounded the right gate, the correct side of the gate. They tacked on top of, they gave disturbed air to Emirates Team New Zealand at the right time. They found the best current on that beat. I think they sailed a really good leg. So if you're Team New Zealand, yes, your advantage may be gone, but I'm not sure you're down and out yet.
Well, we saw Dean Barker win 3 starts in a row over the last couple days before the Jimmy Spithill turned the tide. That was a slam dunk on the starting line, and that started it.
So the lead has now ballooned up to 700 meters. The Kiwis actually sailing a little faster at 36 knots or 41 miles an hour. Dean Barker still looking for a window of opportunity. He had his moment yesterday, maybe thinking the Americans might miscalculate this wind and put themselves in a bad spot. Kenny, I think the excitement around the USA camp is this is what they thought they would see from day 1 of the America's Cup.
I can tell you, walking around America's Cup Park yesterday afternoon, a lot more people were showing off their Oracle t-shirts than a couple days prior. I can tell you for sure.
Straight into the finish. I'm going to top end lift.
Well, if we go forward on the book, and it will look as though the Kiwis are still firmly in control of this one. If the Americans do hold on to win this race number 9, it will be 6-1 on the score. Now, for those watching at home will say 6-1, it's still a Kiwi whitewash. The Americans will have won 3 races, but 2 of those points were taken away by the international jury for a pre-race infraction. So the Americans not necessarily in this totally because they're still down by 5 as they make the rounding at mark number 4. But Kenny, it's more the momentum and where they were 3 days ago to where they are now.
Absolutely right. Momentum, and all good sailors want is a chance. Give me a boat that just gives me a chance, and I think I'm a better sailor to make up for any tiny deficiencies. These guys are good sailors, and all of a sudden they think they have a chance clearly.
Don't load the boat up unnecessarily here.
As they ride the bucking Bronco into the finish.
You heard him call it out, don't load the boat up unnecessarily, because, Ken, you know, you've been in these waters, you've been on this boat. That thing catches a bad puff of wind at the wrong angle, it's game over.
Yeah, there's no reason to take a risk. There's no reason to have to just put the hammer down right now. You got a nice lead. Let's make sure you don't break anything, don't do anything crazy, and live to see another day.
It's going to get lighter after this puff. Okay, pressure going down now.
As they approach the finish line, the fans at America's Cup Park begin to cheer. Race number 9, day number 6 of the 34th America's Cup belongs to the Americans. Conditions are such that they do not even have time to wave to the fans who have been here for hours. There's business at hand and a small celebration now taking place.
That's the world's fastest flyby right there. You better look quick. You better have your shutter speed pretty fast on your camera.
Dean Barker and Emirates Team New Zealand now come in. They'll be well past 40 seconds behind the Americans as they hit the line. Not the best start for Dean Barker. He got a little aggressive down there. As we go back and analyze this one more time, Kenny, do you think that was the turning point of the race, was the start?
Well, of course, absolutely. And Todd, this is actually, these are the events that we thought were going to determine this regatta. The start we thought was going to be crucial against two fairly even teams. It hadn't turned out to be that way so far, with so many passes, more passes than any other time in the history of the America's Cup.
And how about this speed on the course? The Americans completed that 5 legs in just over 21 minutes and 50 seconds.
Oh, my goodness.